My name is Greg Deves. I'm Chairman of Communications for the Unmanned Aircraft Safety Team Working Group. I'm also privileged enough to lead the Silicon Valley chapter of AUVSI for Northern California, and I advise the FAA on several different teams related to safety. And in that role, I have over 35 years of remote pilot experience, and my objective with all of this is that I think that as leaders of the industry, we need to kind of step out a little bit, develop some content, and in a way, provide ourselves a spotlight. And we're going to use our friends at the FAA and the Unmanned Aircraft Safety to start that. Again, I'd like to remind everybody to go ahead and mute your microphones until the end. We're having David Astorga join us. I'm going to have him speak in just a few minutes, but let me give you a little background on what we do at the UAST. We are looking at safety issues, things that cause, general trust factors, whether it's the autopilots or policy or training. We're modeled after the Commercial Aircraft Safety Team and the General Aviation Joint Steering Committee, GAGSC. We're a voluntary organization, and we're consensus-based, which means that we utilize information from the public, online, and from reporting to figure out if there is really a problem. One of the major problems in the industry that we try and deal with are things like loss of control, injury reduction, and safety culture. And safety culture is really at the heart of what Drone Safety Awareness Week is about. So all this information I'm going over and this slide deck will be available online, so you'll have a moment to review it later. But let's take a look at what we're really about here. So when the unmanned aircraft industry had really started, it wasn't an industry, and it took several amazing things, the cell phone and obviously the autopilots to come into vogue to really be effective, but we still miss part of that, and that's the human factor. And so when you look at the UAST or any safety team and what you participate in, when you look at any of this program we're going to talk about today, it's really about consensus-based safety enhancement. It's about getting people to think when nobody's looking and do the right thing. And really that's about saving the industry from, frankly, having to deal with a lot of slowing down and a lack of education. So National Drone Safety Awareness Week at its core is a program that the FAA was good enough to put together, which really highlights the need for us as the industry professionals to get out there and talk to our constituents, political stakeholders, and the public. What you're looking at right now is the actual playbook. You can download the playbook from unmannedaircraftsafetyteam.org, from the FAA links, and probably just search it as well. What it has inside of it is essentially a bunch of ideas that I felt were high level, and my objective today was to kind of bring that down to the grassroots level so that you all on the phone calls can put together programming. And programming can be as simple as a tweet. It could be gathering people together for a meeting. It could be organizing community for education purposes. It could be a fun fly or something like that. It's really about you moving into the industry. And so the focus areas are broken down into days. And while we want you to stick to the day topic, because what we're going to do is be able to highlight that information through social media and really bring the focal point to your event, is that we all want to stay on the same sheet of music. That doesn't mean that you can't have additional programming or talk about different topics. It just means that as a team, as a unit, we're going to try and focus on Monday through Saturday. You're looking at these topics, and most of you have picked one out, so I'm not going to belabor that. Let's talk about what we're really doing here, and that is that drone safety is everyone's responsibility. We need to focus on the safety and education of our youth as well as our professionals. So whether it's a weekend hobbyist or a youngster who's coming aboard that wants to learn about how to be a great UAS pilot, or an industry professional, or the local government or utilities, we're finding that these use cases, these force multipliers that drones offer, are very important. And so the first real piece of that is to let the public know that it isn't the Wild West, and that we're really focusing on safety methodically in a data-driven approach to make sure it's safe for everybody, and it does what we intend. So what are we really talking about is really that when you create programming, you need to be aware of what's happening in the industry and what's happening locally. David is the external engagement lead for the FAA's UAS Integration Office. and he is our lead point of contact for helping you get things organized. The FAST Team Directory is a resource to find experts. So you're wondering who can come and speak and what kind of topics and those kinds of things. Reach out to your local FAST team. Most FAST teams address things that are critical to local safety issues. So if you're in a Class G airspace and you're having incursions, they probably know about it. If you're having issues with different types of problems with aircraft, or you're in a complex airspace, they know about it. Reach out to them, invite one of the drone experts. If one of the actual staff is not available, have them come out. Last thing is the voluntary tracking tool. What that basically is it's the way to tell us, and for everyone who registered on the webinar today, I will add you to the tracking tool, and in the hopes that you also follow through, but more importantly that we're trying to put together something that ultimately leads to a year-over-year type of event. So setting this up initially and being part of this first cadre is fantastic, and we're going to rely on you for years to come. How you tell us about it is using the voluntary tracking tool, and again, that link is right there. All right, let's move on. So what are we really talking about? And what we're really saying to the public is have no fear, drones are here, right? So this is an example safety message that David put out. I want everybody to kind of get creative. We all have, that marketing bone in us. This is an opportunity for you to shine. It doesn't have to be complex. Simplicity is the key to mastery. So let's keep the message simple and concise. FSBO and the FAST is the two different elements I just mentioned, and David can speak to that. And then finally, the FAA Drone Pro himself. So what are we talking about? Guys, it's a live event. It could be an online event. It could be simple outreach. It could be your newsletter. It could be 10, 15 words in the corner of your monthly that goes out. It's really about making sure that people, A, know that there's a safety team, and B, that there is this Drone Safety Awareness Week that we're going to be doing every year. Okay, so not complex, keep it simple. Live events are great. They cost a little bit of money, but they bring people to your location. There's an opportunity for you, again, to shine, to bring the focal point of yourself as a community leader in this space, and for us to support you. Online events are great, and I would say to those folks that are doing that, please record them like I'm doing today, because content has reusability, and the UAST would be more than willing to support and market those different webinars. So, and at the end of the day, what is outreach? Outreach is really about talking to the public. I call it the unknown pilot, or our Best Buy pilots, the folks that they mean well, they really are excited about it, but they really lack some fundamentals. And what can you do to help improve that is really to educate them and let them know that you're there and that we're a community. We're all pilots now. The purpose of the National Drone Safety Awareness Week is the fundamentals, and that is that we want to spread awareness throughout all 50 states. And right now, with the first version of this, what we're trying to do is ultimately figure out who those stakeholders are. If you are planning events before or after, that's okay, but please register your calendar or your event page with the VTT tool, and we'll be sure to direct folks there. It is regional, it's state by state, so it's important that we go ahead and get that out there. And then the last thing is that public-private partnerships, like the FAA and the UAST, public being the FAA, the regulatory, the education piece, the private is us. We're the industry. We're the ones who ultimately want to see this grow, and we need it to grow. And from an educator standpoint, the students that we're bringing up and hopefully becoming great drone pilots and safe drone pilots really start with this education now. As I mentioned, when I was a youngster, I had somebody mentor me. I was part of the AMA. I went to fields. If I flew 1 out of 10 times that I went out there, that was about right. And I think that part of that cultural element is something that we need to build up. So I encourage you all to do that. All of this information is going to be in the actual playbook. So I'm not going to continue to kind of go over this in any more detail than to say, what are the call to action? Simplicity, stay on message, do what you can do. Okay, if it's an online event, that's great. If you can host somebody, great. Reach out to the FAA, remind them that you're there and that you'd like them to come and participate with you. David, are you on the line? David, we were talking briefly about the introduction of this, and I wanted to just give you a moment to, first of all, introduce yourself and the UAS Integration Office and let folks know they can reach out to you. So if you would, please introduce yourself and that.
Sure. Thanks everyone for having me. Thank you, Greg. In the room, well, it's me, David Astorga, and then also who is helping out largely with the effort is Ashley Martin, who's in the room with me. And we both work here at headquarters in D.C. With the FAA UAS Integration Office. I'm not sure if everyone on the phone knows, but when our office is referred to, it's usually AUS. There's a lot of confusion around it, but rest assured it is the same division, AUS. We do handle integration efforts for UAS, and that is our primary concern. A lot of the policy issues, and actually the division or line of business that owns the policy is actually aviation flight standards. It's a whole another line of business, but we do work cross-agency, and we are working cross-agency right now to coordinate this effort. And that kind of leads me into the point that Greg made about awareness on the FAA side. Our field offices, field agents, FAST team program managers, drone pros, and also folks that work out of the FISDOs, they are all aware of this initiative, and they're all eager to help. I believe a spreadsheet was provided to everyone. That is basically, that is the opportunity to tell your safety story and have access to someone from the FAA to support you in many ways, whether that's guidance to plan your event, maybe it's also a consultation on what type of event to host and what resources are available. It could be in-person speaking support, or it could just be for promotional materials. There's a number of things you can reach out to them for, and they're all expecting your call. It's a great opportunity to, again, kind of emphasize on what Greg said, to build a relationship and have your safety story, commitment to drone safety, or maybe you're launching a new initiative, to have that all live on past, the date range for this initiative, which is November 4th through 10th. And really give you the opportunity to continue the safety conversation through your maybe recorded efforts, but also through the voluntary tracking tool, which we're very grateful to have teamed up with the UAST to host. That will act as, there's a couple things that will do. It'll act as something to build upon for next year. So this is the first of an annual event, and we're really excited about everyone's participation, and we're hoping to build on that using the voluntary tracking tool. Everything recorded using that tool is very important, because that kind of triggers our response as far as forwarding your requests to either the region or state that your event is being hosted in, or sending it out to the field for awareness. So that recording your event, it is voluntary. That's how we see it. But to take credit for what you've already done, your commitment to drone safety, and also to give folks a heads up about what you're doing, it's definitely a great way to get that word out. And last thing is, the big thing here is we want to put the safety spotlight on drones. It's all about drone safety. This is your story. This is your event, and we're here to help and support in any way we can.
What this boils down to is, we're all busy. We're trying to figure out how to leverage this. The couple main points are: use the VTT, which is up on the screen right now. It will live on and will continue. And number two, by registering with this, David will start to put resources in touch with you. So, making it easy on yourself and gathering the flock, if you would, is the hard part. Let David and the team help program and get you the support you need. Right now, we're looking at the voluntary tracking tool screenshot. You get to it by going to unmannedaircraftsafetyteam.org or to the FAA link that you see there. The objective of this is very simple. It's 10, 12 fields. You put your information in there. It goes to David and his team. They'll communicate back to you, and then, as I mentioned, we'll be promoting it. So, the objective really in all this is be quick about it, be efficient, create great content, and by and large, have fun. Make it something that benefits your organization, but also has something that can be reused by all. Follow up by saying that all this information will be available on the website. unmannedaircraftsafetyteam.org. The Twitter handle for the UA Safety Team is UA Safety Team. And of course, FAA.gov/UAS is your homepage for all things that have to do with David's office and all the good work they're doing there. Again, David's email address will be on the slide deck. If you have any questions at all, reach out to us, tweet at us, and by and large, participate. There's an opportunity that the FAA has afforded your organization, which costs no money to you, a little bit of your time, but will bring great value. David, do you have any final comments for the team?
Not much from my end. I'd just like to thank everyone for their initial interest and their, response to this initiative. This is an, community engagement and public acceptance initiative, and yes, we are celebrating drone safety, but moving forward, community engagement, just like in the manned aviation realm, is one of the key elements to routine advanced operations of UAS. So we're talking about drone safety now and influencing it for the future. So thank you again for your participation.
Thank you, David. Thank you all for joining the Unmanned Aircraft Safety Team. Again, Drone Safety Week awareness November 4th through the 10th. Please register your event at unmannedaircraftsafetyteam.org. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us.